Clint Eastwood sat quietly in his California home on a calm Sunday afternoon. It was the kind of day he used to cherish. No filming, no scripts, no hustle, just silence. But today felt different. He stared at his phone as a new notification lit the screen. The message was from a name he barely recognized, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the leader of Burkina Faso. Clint hesitated, puzzled. Why would a revolutionary African leader send him a private message? Curious, he opened it. As his eyes moved across the screen, confusion gave way to shock, then something deeper. His hand trembled, lips pressed tight, and then something no one had ever seen before. Tears filled Clint Eastwood's eyes. The room fell silent. He blinked, but the tears didn't stop. How did he know? Clint whispered. Before he could think further, Clint stood, walked to his desk, and hit record on his phone. Whatever he had just read was about to change everything. The video Clint recorded wasn't meant for public eyes, at least. Not yet. Sitting before the camera, his voice softer than usual, Clint said, "This message comes from a man I've never met, but he knew something no one else did." He read aloud the note, a heartfelt voice message and translated letter from Captain Ibrahim Traoré, thanking Clint for a moment, long forgotten by the world. It was about a documentary Clint made in 1984 called The Forgotten Warriors, a film honoring African heroes erased from history. It aired once, then disappeared, buried by American networks. "You told the truth," Traoré's voice said in the message. "When it wasn't popular. I was just a boy, but my father showed me that tape. It changed how I saw my people. It planted a seed I never forgot." Clint paused, his face tightening. Then he said something chilling. "I thought no one saw that film. Not even the studio cared. But this man, this leader, remembered." And then Clint Eastwood cried again. Within an hour, the video went viral. Millions watched, but all asked, what was the story behind the message? 3 days later, Burkina Faso's official government page shared an old black-and-white photo, a barefoot boy sitting cross-legged on a dusty floor, eyes fixed on a small TV screen. The caption read, "Ibrahim 1985, watching the Forgotten Warriors with his father." Comments exploded. "That's Traoré. Just a child. This is real." In the photo, little Ibrahim's eyes were wide, innocent, focused beside him. His father, a weathered man, face lined by time, held back tears. No one had known this moment, from a documentary barely aired, had sparked the spirit of a revolutionary. Decades later, Clint had no idea he'd shaped history until that message. Clint's voice echoed in millions of minds. How did he know? The world leaned in. The emotional storm was just beginning. After the video went viral, Clint couldn't sleep. That night, by his fireplace, phone in hand, he reread the message again and again. Something went deeper than gratitude. A paragraph lingered. "My father told me, one day you will meet the man who showed you we matter. When you do, thank him, because I won't be there." Clint stared into the flames. His hands shook. Memories came flooding back of his own father, forgotten projects, and the 1984 documentary no network wanted to air. They said it was too serious, too raw, too African. But Clint made it anyway. He didn't know then a boy in Burkina Faso would grow into a leader because of it. He whispered, "Did I really matter that much to someone like him?" Tears fell, not just sadness, but realization. 2 days later, a new video appeared, this time from Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Simple, unpolished footage in a quiet Ouagadougou room, Burkina Faso's flag behind him. His voice calm, but filled with emotion. "Mr. Eastwood," he began, "when I was 9, my father and I watched your documentary in a crowded classroom. The only TV in the village was wheeled in. I still remember your voice, narrating the story of forgotten African soldiers. He paused. My father never cried, but that night he did. He said, "The world may not see us, but this man does." Then came the part that broke viewers. My father died 2 weeks later during the famine. I buried him, holding a photo of that TV screen. Millions watching cried. Many sat in stunned silence. At the end, Traoré looked directly into the camera. "Mr. Eastwood, I am who I am because of you." The world had never heard anything like this. Clint sat alone again, tears streaming. He opened an old drawer he hadn't touched for years. Inside was a fragile yellowed envelope, a letter he wrote to himself after finishing The Forgotten Warriors in 1984. It read, "No one will care, no one will watch. But if one boy somewhere feels seen, it was worth it." Clint never shared the letter. It stayed hidden for 40 years. Now, with Traoré's words echoing, Clint understood that one boy had seen it. That boy had become a man standing for millions. Clint placed the letter beside his laptop, then began typing again, a heartfelt reply. He planned to write back to Captain Traoré, but the story was far from over. Next came a twist, not from Africa but the US. An anonymous source leaked a Senate hearing clip. Young Senator Joseph Redmond held a VHS tape in 1985. This film portrays African soldiers as heroes. It's not in America's best interest to air widely. The film was The Forgotten Warriors, Clint's documentary. The clip exploded on social media. People were furious. Why bury this film? Why silence the truth? But what shocked all was what came next. Senator Redmond, now 82 and retired, apologized in a shaky video. "Clint, I was wrong. We silenced something powerful. I've lived with that regret ever since," he added. "That boy in Burkina Faso became braver than any of us." The emotional weight doubled. It was more than art. It was suppressed truth, and the world demanded justice. News channels dug into the past. Burkina Faso state TV replayed The Forgotten Warriors in full, first time since the 1980s. People crowded schools, homes, cafes, watching silently. Many cried. Children asked, "Why did we never see this before?" An elderly veteran, missing an eye, whispered, "I thought we were forgotten." Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Clint was invited to a surprise live interview. He didn't know who waited on the video call. It was Captain Ibrahim Traoré, live from Ouagadougou. When they saw each other, silence fell. Clint's voice cracked. "You're real," Traoré nodded, "because you believed in truth when it wasn't popular." The 4-minute call left the studio in tears. Something deeper was unfolding. Clint hadn't read the second half of Traoré's message yet. After the broadcast, Clint returned home to find an envelope at his door, hand-delivered by a quiet diplomat in New York. Inside, a folded sheet of paper. The handwriting was familiar. Traoré's message, Part 2, one Clint hadn't seen. He opened it slowly. The words stopped him, cold. "Clint, I've never told anyone the day my father died," he whispered. "If you ever meet this man, tell him he gave me back my pride." Clint's hands trembled. The next paragraph was more personal. "When I took office, I visited my father's grave. I played your documentary from my phone, let it echo through dust and wind. I wanted him to hear your voice again." Clint covered his face and wept harder. For decades, he thought the film was forgotten, but now he knew. It saved a dying man's dignity, raised a boy into a revolutionary. Yet, the most shocking part was yet to come. That night, Clint couldn't sleep. His mind returned to the words, "You gave my father back his pride." He went to his garage, pulled out a dusty sealed box unopened for decades. Inside, a leather-bound journal, his personal notes from filming The Forgotten Warriors and 1985 West Africa trip. Flipping through yellowed pages, he found an entry that froze him. Burkina Faso, April 14th. Met a soldier who said, Tell your people we exist. He handed me a medal. I promised to return it to his son if he passed. Clint's mouth went dry. He still had the medal. Now he knew the soldier. Traoré's father. He'd kept the medal nearly 40 years, never knowing where to send it. Suddenly, the man who'd seen war through a lens faced a promise unfulfilled. Guilt rose. This was no longer closure. It was honoring a dying man's word. Early next morning, Clint called his team, cancelled meetings, postponed interviews, booked a flight. Destination, Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. News hit worldwide. But Clint didn't come for the press. He came to deliver the medal. When he arrived, cameras captured a surreal moment. A Hollywood legend, walking across red earth, clutching a faded piece of history. Traoré met him at the palace steps. They shook hands firmly, silently. Clint placed the medal in Traoré's hands. The captain looked down and whispered, "He wore this the day he died." Nearby, children began singing an old liberation song. One Clint recorded decades ago. His lips trembled. He turned to the children, hand on heart. "I didn't forget you." Then Traoré said something that stunned reporters. America made Clint a legend, but Africa made him a witness. The world watched. Two men from different worlds bonded, not by politics, but memory, promise, and truth.